Hi guys, it's Mike from Team Endgame here, bringing you a deck check/clan breakdown of the Goku Kagero build, which has been requested by a comment on one of our previous videos. I have Aaron with me.
Right, guys?
Yeah, believe they are. Yeah, so I'll just start straight away. Right, start with Conroe. Now, Conroe is your, what's it called now?
They've got the name Pioneer now.
Pioneer. It's a Pioneer that moves back. So I don't need to say that, but that's what Pioneer means. And it's one of those key cards in any Kagero build, in my opinion. As a starter, it's very hard to let it go, even if you're using a different build. The idea is you counterblast one, put it to the drop zone to search for any grade 1 or 0 you like. So yeah. Most of the time, you search for your air ammo. Or bar.
Whatever you need.
Whatever you need, whatever build you use. Right, trigger-wise, I use 4 heal, obviously. I'm pretty heavy crit, so that's 8 crit. Mainly because I don't see the need for stands in this build. And some people run more... Oh, I might as well put these down as well. 4 draw. Some people run more draw than crit, or they just run more crit and no draw, or a couple of draw just as a tech.
So why do you personally use
because
4 draw?
It's not very threatening, the Vanguard at 16, and a lot of the time you're going to guard for air ammo anyway, but if you don't, then... It's just it's reliant on air ammo in the end. I've been against... My biggest issue was against another Kagero build, where as soon as my air ammo was gone, I had draw triggers in hand. I couldn't get rid of them. The reason you run more is because air ammo's got to hit, so you can get rid of them.
So why do you use those 4 draw instead of an extra 4 crit? And I'm trying to say, get rid of the need for that air ammo to discard draw triggers.
Because air ammo is mainly there because in a Goku build you're drive checking grade 3s. Grade 3s can't guard, so majority of the time you're going to get rid of them. So you prioritise them over the draw triggers, but that extra draw just helps you. It also helps you find the grade 3s. It's also a good point to throw out there. Your grade 3s aren't going to all be together, so you've got to go through your deck as quickly as you can to get Goku to find the grade 3s and get them off. So yeah.
So it's reliant on using them to find Goku, basically.
Yeah.
That's what ammo is used for early game.
Yep. Ammo's not going to hit late game, but it's not the point. Point is just to get through your deck. Right, pretty standard grade 1 lineup. You got your 4 bar. It's your AK vanilla. You got your 4 heat nail, which is new to this set, which I'll go back to in a sec. Your 4 perfect guards, and your 2 air ammo. Right. Starting from leading on what I previously said, the reason I run 2 air ammo is because Conroe will, without a doubt, unless you find it in your starting hand, search for one of your 2 air ammo. You don't need to run more because you'll always search it.
So why don't you only run 1?
Because you might take it as damage. That's a good point to throw out there. There you go. Thank you for asking. Because that's why people use 2 like Dindrine and things instead of 1 in the Gold Paladin build. Because if you do take it as damage, you've just lost everything. I don't think I've ever ridden it and taken it as damage. That'd be pretty unlucky.
Yeah, that's another thing, just in case you need to ride it as well, I guess.
Yeah. Right, you've got your 4 perfect guards. Again, it's another reason why you run draw triggers, just so you have something to discard. It gets your grade 3s out your hand. And you don't really need anything in the build above 6k a lot of the time. So out of the ones available to you, the most you do is run more air ammo or something instead of buddy. Buddy. Anyway, yeah. So that's your perfect guard. Your 8k's there just to help those, to help you hit for the 20,000s, which I'll explain later on, with your grade 3s, and helps your 9k's get over the 16 barrier if they have an 11k Vanguard. Up until this point, people used a mixture of air ammo and Kimnara. Kimnara, I might as well talk about it now rather than later on. I'll just throw this down later on, but Kimnara is your counterblast 1 that goes into the soul to retire a grade 1. Yeah, just grade 1. And it's an on-demand card, so it's pretty good, but this is better. Heat now, you
In
boost...
your opinion.
Yeah, it's better, I'm sorry, it's better.
In your opinion. I still think Kimnara's better.
Well, yeah, it's better because I don't need to counterblast for it.
Yes, but I think Kimnara's better because you don't have that restriction of it having to hit your Vanguard. I personally feel that you can just plop that down, snap off an 8k, and then think Vanguard, or snap off an AMO if...
Okay, the benefit of that is on demand, but the concept of Heat now is more of a threatening card that I don't want to lose something. That way I don't lose a booster, that way I can still go over things. Not only do I give you a damage, but I also retire a unit rather than just using Kimnara's effect to lose a rear guard and have you only guard for 5k to stop you damaging. That's the concept of Heat now, really. But anyway, Heat now is boost. I haven't explained what it is yet. You boost a unit, any unit really, and it just has to hit the Vanguard, and you retire a grade 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you put that back into the deck.
And then it goes back to the deck. Yes, that's indeed true. So yeah, that's the whole concept you really need to go for. Ideally, your field would be like this with 2 Heat nails. Alternatively, you'd have a bar and your grade 3 executioner there, which I'll get to momentarily. Right, grade 2s are probably one of the most boring lineups you'll ever see in Vanguard. You have 7 10k vanillas. Why? Because of these in front of them. When you get those pesky 11k vanguards, or if you don't have enough rear guards because Heat Nails come back to the deck, or for whatever reason, you need vanillas just to swing on their own.
For high numbers.
For high numbers, yes.
Break them magic numbers.
Yeah. And just, there's not really anything necessary to run grade 2 wise, as far as I'm aware. Yeah.
We'll go through those later.
Yeah, we'll go through them later, obviously. And your main counterblasting of the deck, and the only counterblasting I have in this deck, apart Conroe, is Berserk Dragon. A Berserk Dragon you play to the field as a rearguard or a vanguard. You counterblast 2 to retire anything of your choice. It's lovely.
To a lower.
To a lower, yes.
Not anything.
I don't know. Don't correct me on my own deck. I paused for a second there. I knew I wasn't right. Yeah. So that's another reason why Draw Triggers and Error is good. You search through your deck for these cards. You have 5 Counterblast. It's usually Conroe and 2 Berserk. Other than that, it's pretty just focused on that. You don't really need anything else. I've seen the grade 1 tech before, the Counterblast 1 put up by a K just in case, or you've got you've got your Overlords and stuff. But yeah, that's basically the grade 2s.
So again, you run 11 grade 2s, I notice.
Yeah. Because you need to get to the 16s. Yeah, and also it's nice to have a 10k Vanguard as grade 2. It will be changed in the future for a lovely card in the promos, which is called Stricken. I love that card.
Personally, I wouldn't think Stricken would be used in this build.
It would.
I wouldn't.
Regardless.
Different build.
It's different, alright. Grade 3 wise, for Goku.
Boss card of the deck.
Boss card of the deck. The name of this build. The effect is to when you drive when it's the Vanguard, when you drive check a grade 3 Kagero, you can retire a grade 1 or lower rearguard. Yes. So
it's very pesky.
So it's very pesky, but it comes with a risk. If you don't find any grade 3s, you've just wasted the fact you could have had 11k Vanguard. If you do, you're just freely sniping them away. And they lose the rear guards, they lose the ability to boost over things. And it's also nice to have 10k rear guards, because if they have 9k in front, it's not hitting anything. Yeah. So you need to run 4 so you find it. That's basically all it's there
That's
for.
That's what ammo's there for, yeah.
Yep. You've got your 3 executioners. They're going off the screen there, so I have to pile them up like that. Executioners, which is your 12k swinger. It doesn't need to be boosted, it's just when it attacks the Vanguard, it gets an extra 2k. As I mentioned before, your main point is to get it in front of a bar or something like that to get to those 20s. Other than that, it's basically your prime setup, hitting 20s on the side and 16 down the middle, hopefully sniping something with the wave train.
Didn't you earlier say that you should have the heat nails at the side?
Yeah, until you search for the bars, because they free up the spaces once they hit.
Okay.
But I said either heat nails on the side or a bar if you find an executioner.
Just needed to clarify.
Yeah. And finally, it's just a tech overlord. The standard build you'll see of Goku is 2 overlord, 2 executioner, 4 Goku. But personally, I see overlord as majoritively a dead card. It's there as a backup Vanguard, mainly, or for counterblasting if you haven't found your Berserk Dragons as a rear guard. Don't use it as a Vanguard unless they have no guard in their hand, or else you're going to waste it. Overlord's effect is you counterblast 3 to gain 5,000 power, and as it destroys a rear guard, you get to restand it. As a Vanguard, and you counterblast 3, it loses its twin drive. So if you're going to activate its effect as a Vanguard, you can only drive check a singular time, unless, of course, it hits and restands. So, yeah, it has to hit the rear guard, obviously. If it hits the Vanguard, it doesn't restand. The way the deck's been playing, I mean, from what you've seen previously on our channel, there are our videos, I assume.
It was quite a while ago.
It's quite a while ago, but yeah, there wasn't heat now in there. I ran 2 Overlord, 2 Executioner, 4 Goku. It might have been slightly different. I mean, I know Kimnara's and another Erema or something.
Regardless,
the deck does work pretty well. The Heat Nails is definitely a lovely addition.
And that's basically your main combo / field setup, isn't it?
Yeah, just the Heat Nails in front of the 10Ks, the bars in front of the Berserks, intercept to free up the space, put Executioner down if you find it, and just filtering through your deck with Eremo. Just hope that you don't go against another Kagero deck that gets rid of it.
Because that would severely hinder what you can actually do.
Pretty much.
Right, so that being your deck, what other options do we have and why haven't you used them, Michael?
You start getting them ready.
Do you want to start with them?
Yeah. Right. As an alternative build, I'll just mention it because it's not relevant to this. You have the Amber Dragon Ride Chain and the support card grade 2. So I won't go into that.
We have another starter.
We have another starter, technically. It came in the structure deck. It just stays there. It doesn't do anything.
So I've noticed you haven't actually got the triggers now. What other triggers are there?
There are a lot of stands, and you can use an extra 2... No, it's fine, I know what's there. You have an extra 2 draw triggers. Gasoline Claw, which counts +1 going to the soul to retire something, but it's only 4k, so it goes 0, so I don't like using it. You're talking about triggers here.
Yeah.
And you have another draw trigger. Its name.
Stand trigger, you mean?
No, you've got Dancing Monica, which is a draw trigger, which is another standard 5k. I just use the 5k, which is latest in the...
From the most recent set, though, you also got a stand trigger that has the same effect as Heat now, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes back to the deck. Retires a grade 0, though,
yeah.
I believe. But regardless, there's a lot of stands you can use, and I could use all draw triggers or all crit triggers. They're very available in terms of triggers.
Yeah.
Right. Kimnara went over earlier, so I don't need to really go over it.
Snipe card.
It's a snipe card, but I'd advise using it in some kind of soul-related build, because at the very least you have a second objective to actually putting them into the soul. One of the new additions to the deck, the archetype, Lizard Soldier...
Clan.
Archetype?
Clan, yeah.
Clan.
Yeah.
To the clan. Rupia? Yes. I always pronounce it as Rupia. Anyway, when it boosts the Vanguard, if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, it gets an extra 4k boost, so it's our 10k booster. I prefer something a lot better, to be honest, but only would I ever use it in a Lawkeeper build, which basically wipes the field, which I'll get to later.
So you're saying
not too much more to say about it. The only way you'd ever use it It's a very extreme
Tech card.
card, but if you really must, then you take your Airmo out for it. You search for it at the start, and you'd swing high early, so they're not going to guard
So
the
you're
Vanguard.
saying late game? Although
Late game is
Goku,
useless because even though using Goku, there's no way they leave just their 2 front rear guards there without any boosters whatsoever. See here, we've got these two, which we'll be quick to talk about. They are specific Vanguard, specific boosters for a specific card.
Do you want me to get them out?
Yeah, you may as well.
Well, you've got Chain Attack Sutherland, and you've got one of my favourite cards, Tejas. Just because he trolls the back row.
He does. Dope. Right, your Wyvern Strike Jaran and your Wyvern Strike Tejas. Comboed, they get to 18. Tejas' effect is he can swing for anything in the same row as itself. So obviously at the front it would normally be able to do anyway, but it can also attack the rear guard. The idea being, even on its own, it matches the best rear guard you can have at 8k.
And with the special booster, it's 18 against that 8 booster.
Against that 8, it's not going to be guarded.
Like I'm doing that off the camera.
Yeah, he's tapping into the table. Its only major use, in my opinion, would be in a stand trigger deck. That way, you can swing over the rear guard. Oh, it didn't hit. Stand trigger. Try again, and that's going to be a 10k guard, and they're going to let it go. Other than that, I see it's too weak, especially for a deck that has a lot of 6k rear guards, which is probably going to be majority the excuse for a lot of these cards. But if that's what the deck does, unfortunately, it restricts you. So yeah, that's fine. We'll leave it down there, it's fine.
Okay.
Oh, whatever. Chain Attack Sutherland is your... Well, these are grade 2s, by the way, I was saying. Is your... When something's retired, it goes up by 3,000 to get to 11k, which is ideal when you have like a lot of draw triggers or something, so you might be dropping them as rear guards, or you're struggling for rear guards, and it helps to swing over 11 on its own.
It's only when they
again,
retire it in the main phase.
That's the major flaw in it. You think, oh wow, Goku will be amazing in there. No, it's really not. It has to be done in the main phase, and because Goku retires in the battle phase,
it's a very tricky card.
It's a very tricky card to use.
Well, it's for Kimnara though.
Yeah, well, it's for Kimnara or Berserk Dragon, or things like that. But you will never get a thing out of it.
So, yeah, so
and obviously with a 10k boost, it's 21. It is a very high hitting card with that, but it has to be that.
So I'll move those two there, so they're done. We'll put them out later.
Yeah.
So what else you got?
What else have I got? We've got
Demonic Dragon.
Madonna Joker.
Yeah.
Which is your...
Basically the same as Sutherland, actually.
Yeah.
She gets a 3k boost when retired.
Which is what I've actually tried to use it before in very early build, but it gets to 9k, not 10k.
9k is a good boost though. It's better than 8.
But with what? Yeah, unless it's in front of Sutherland, which was the point.
Overlord.
Yeah, it's true. Overlord gets
again,
20.
it's the whole point. It's tricky to use because of that main phase retire.
And in the end, Heat Nail and things are a lot better. It doesn't require any setup. Yeah, you've got your Grape Shot Wyvern, which I've also used before, which you play it to a rear guard and add 2,000 something. The main reason I used it is because a lot of the time I found myself with 18 columns, and this is before Heat Nail, bearing in mind, I teched one just to find it and go, oh, now my column on the other side gets an extra 2k, and that breaks a barrier. It's all it's really used for. But unlike something like Grand Blue, which it was a lot more successful in, you can't really replace it. And you can't free up the space for your bar, like Heat Nail and things like that. Again, if you're looking for a lot of 8k rear guards, I mentioned this earlier, if you have a few spare counterblasts, Iron Tail Dragon is an ideal card. It's also part of a ride chain, but I'm going to it's that later.
Superior Ride, not
Superior Ride, whatever. You can blast one and put out by a K. If you have in front of I don't know, an Executioner or an Overlord, you can counterblast a couple of times, and voila, you're hitting for 2021. Doing lovely. But yeah, that's not great.
It's alright. It has its places, but not in this.
I'll just get past that one quickly. If you have Tallest Rear Guards, it gets an extra 3k
when it attacks.
So it's a 9.
One of those front row ones.
It's a nice early game, I guess. I can see it plausible. I really can. When you ride when your opponent rides a grade 2 and they're still not dropping a rear guard, it still can get over on its own. It's a very good card, but only early game.
And the problem is, though, it's 6, so it's like
it's 6 as well. So they can drop a 6 and just go, "Oh, I'll swing over there." Oh, lovely. There goes my rear guard. I should be getting rid of rear guards, not Buster Later in a bloody World Paladin deck.
Stop talking about them.
No.
Carry on.
Should be retiring. Right.
Woo,
and Gojo. Now, this, on the other hand, is a very useful card. Not in this build specifically, in my opinion, but if you were looking for more 7 and 8Ks, I would use it, because Iron Tail, you very rarely use the effect, and Wyvern's only a temporary AK. The idea of Gojo is to rest, discard to draw. So yeah, even if you wanted to drop it as a rear guard on its own at the back, in a free column, just to sort out your hand, it helps go through your deck with air ammo. So yeah, it's a very nice little card. So I spent quite a while on grade 1s, my apologies, but
we went over 2s, so
yeah, there are quite a lot.
Chain Attack and Tejas that we went over a moment ago.
Yep. You've got your 3 advanced summons.
No, they're advanced summons.
Okay,
that's
and that's a right chain. Whatever.
Why did you put that there? That should be up there.
Yeah, you put it there. We went over that earlier. Two advanced summons.
Superior
rides. You're changing it now. Regardless, with these superior rides, you have to ride them.
And they have like 2 counterpart cards.
And they have 2 counterpart cards. For example, the one with Blazing Core.
You don't have the draw trigger out.
They don't have the draw trigger out, but you get your grade 1. They both have a grade 1 and a trigger. Aleph is bar and
the crit trigger
tar. But it would be the more playable one out of the 2 because you always use a bar. But
always.
If it's a soul related build, then yeah. But anyway, because Iron Tail's 7, I don't see it as playable.
Yeah.
Regardless, you put them both into the soul to superior. Cool.
Superior ride.
Get
your terms right.
Your grade 3
from the deck.
I may as well just grab them to make it.
Oh, again.
They're your 2 grade 3s you end up finding. Unfortunately, with these, the main setback is that it screws up your grade 2 lineup. You end up having to run 4 of these, and you pretty much have to find them if you're basing the deck on it.
And it's also a neg to actually get the units out from the deck, but it is a superior ride. You're doing it a turn early, so you can't expect that.
Yeah.
But it used to be good compared to the superior rides as of late in terms of goals.
I mean, the idea of Blazing Flare, I believe you're still 1 soul short when you do the advanced summon.
Yeah.
You have the grade 1, 2...
No, 0,
0, 1, 2.
And the 1 and the 0 you put in. No, you're fine.
No, but the 0 moves back. It's Conroe.
Oh yeah, true. If you're using Conroe.
Yeah, so if you're using Conroe, then the advanced summon will not have enough soul to use the effect.
So
but you need 5. You soul blast 5 to retire whatever you like.
Which is during the main phase. So
which is during the main phase, which is always nice.
Sutherland.
Yeah. But obviously it isn't this build, so I won't go into it too much.
Which you just did.
Yeah, I know. I got sidetracked. And Aleph, you soul blast the materials that you use, so you have to specifically have the materials in there. And you get to flip up with your damage, which combos nice with Overlord. Where are my grade 2? What's that now? Actually, it's not a bad card to tech, to be honest. Dragon Armoured Knight.
See, I quite like him.
Which, it's only... it loses 2k if it hasn't got a Kagero in the same column. So it specifically has to have a Kagero in the same column. The good thing about it is you'd always shove it in the column with something, and if you have 3 counter blasts, then you haven't found your Berserk Dragons, then you can just swing for a nice 20 or whatever with a bar behind it.
Yeah.
You just can't blast 2. It goes up by, same as Iron Tail, it goes up by a K per one you use. So it's always nice.
It allows you to run Iron Tail effectively without using Iron Tail in the grade 1 lineup.
So you could always change the GARPs for them and be absolutely happy with it. But if you don't, then you might be swinging for 8,000 if you don't have the rear guard, and I personally don't want to take the risk. You have your Interceptor, would be in a deck which has more
than 6k
more
boosters.
6k boosters again. Yeah, and I told you it'd come up as another excuse. But yeah, I've seen it teched, not played. If you get my drift, you ever see one or maximum two in a deck, just because they run quite a few grade 2s. I personally run an extra grade 2 as well, mainly because Conroe will search for my grade 1 that I need, and also just it's nice to run an extra grade 2, and it seems to be a nice ratio really.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Flame Edge Dragon, which is when it hits, doesn't have to hit the Vanguard. Then you have a Kagero Vanguard, you soul charge one, so it's in a build with Blazing Flare
most likely Blazing Flare. Yeah. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, pretty much it, isn't it?
Oh, Mega Blaster.
Mega Blaster,
Which
yes.
you have here now.
Yeah, so Mega Blaster. Yeah, Chaos Blast 5, Soul Blast 8, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
To retire everything.
Is it everything?
No, it's 3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was hoping it's everything.
No, that's a Royal Paladin one.
Yeah, of course it's a Royal Paladin one.
But it has to hit.
I don't care.
I do.
It's not worth it saving up for, to be honest.
Well, regardless, those are two
things.
And the extra one that you missed out.
What do you mean I missed out?
Well, it's not part of a ride chain or anything.
No. Well, okay, yeah. So by the advanced summon section, when something's retired, you can ride it from your hand. So it is a nice little plus.
But it's 9. It's bad. Bad 9.
Yeah, it's a very bad 9. But it would be so amusing to see that someone would get off. But in the end, it is a... Because you're going to ride over it, it's a even, isn't it? Because you counterblast 2 to just ride it, that's a -1. Then you're going to ride over it, so it's a -2 really. And you drive check.
Do you counterblast?
No, I'm saying you counterblast to use Berserk Dragon or something.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I don't see it as a plus, really.
No, it's not. Well, it's kind
of. Yeah, if you return it to the 12k Swinger, which is a lovely, horrible card.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it has to hit the Vanguard.
I looked at the wrong one, sorry, that one. If you'll have to return it to the 12k Swinger. I looked at it and dropped the other one. This is a promo I got from Nationals, actually. Dragonic Vanisher.
Just careful, I don't know if it has.
Yeah, it is, look, woo! Yeah, but they have to have 3 or less rear guards. Oh, they just if the number of rear guards is greater than your opponent's. Yeah. So if you have more rear guards, it goes to 12. But why you'd run more than 4 Executioners, I don't know.
Yeah.
An Executioner
I think what it is
better.
Technically that card came out as a promo in Japan before they released Executioner. So that was their card, and then Executioner came out. It's like, oh, this is better, and they use that.
Oh, even so, it's part of the collection, so I might as well show it. But what I tried a second ago is it's actually not that bad.
It is.
When it has to hit the Vanguard, but you add 3k to another unit, so you can up the column, so it's like a first threat. So they have to kind of guard that to then let the others through. But yeah, it's all right. But you never really use it. A promo, a Dragonic Waterfall. Now this has seen play in a. No, it's not even on the screen. It's terrible.
That was my fault.
Yeah,
I put Blazing Flare
there. Yeah. Waterfall is 10k. You can discard a grade 3 to add another 10k. But when it attacks the Vanguard, you get an extra 3k.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is, it's a different build to Goku, but I've seen people use it in a Goku build simply because they don't rely on air mode too much. They keep those grade 3s in hand occasionally, and they use Waterfall's effect to discard the grade 3 to then swing for stupid amounts. But it is a risk, because if they're going to perfect guard it anyway, you've now just negged yourself a card.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure they don't have a perfect guard if you're going to use it. And with bar behind it, it's going to be...
So it's a really aggressive build.
It's going to be 30,000 with bar behind it.
Fake loss, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So yeah, it's a different build in my opinion. It's an aggressive... I'd run all crit triggers or something if I was running Waterfall, because I just need that to hit. If I'm risking grade 3s and swinging for 20s without Aeramo and having a bar there, then I'm going to run crits. One of my favourite cards has been for a long time, and I was going to take it in the Goku build, but it seems that Overlord works better. Blockade literally just blocks any intercepting whatsoever as the Vanguard. You ride it and nothing can intercept.
So I'm guessing your idea was Goku, like, nice. Oh, I'm running out of grade 3s on my deck. Blockade. Time to, like, push, neg them out, that intercepting units that they've got.
Yeah. I'd take it occasionally in a deck, but yeah, you ride it and it negs them 10k worth of guard, so that final push is a lovely little card.
And your last 2 grade 3s.
My last 2 grade 3s is a build in itself. You've got Dual Axe,
in your
Arc
opinion,
Dragon, and Lawkeeper.
Your opinion.
My opinion. They work as a build, but not in another build. Lawkeeper is a Vanguard specific, like, blockade. I relate it to blockade. Basically, it reduces their field to nothing. It binds everything. I was getting there. At limit break, you counter +1, and all their cards go into the bind zone, which is a zone not on the mat. But yeah.
So that therefore reduces their field to less than 2 rear guards, and then
so then all the cards that specify 2 or less, i.e. Dual Axe, when you have 2 or less rear guards, it becomes a 13k swinger. Full stop, doesn't it? Doesn't even have to take the Vanguard. So with a bar behind it, that's on an ideal field with that, with Dual Axe, Lawkeeper, and Dual Axe, bar, that's 21.
So that's like the Lawkeeper build.
So you'd run 7Ks or whatever. I know.
But
yeah, so I don't see any point in running Lawkeeper and not Blockade in a Goku build. Because you don't have to counter blast for it. You don't have those 2 or less rear guards there, or anything like that. So yeah, that is pretty much the Goku build. If you wish to hear about any others, just comment, and we'll
get around to it at some point.
Yeah. Okay guys, thank you for watching. I hope this Goku deck check has been informative.
If you have any of your own comments or opinions on the deck, please feel free to leave a comment in the box below. And yeah, please feel free to rate, comment, subscribe about us in general. If you have any other decks that you'd like us to go over, please feel free to message us. We won't bite.
Yeah, we'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah, thanks again, guys.
Right, see ya.